Yeah, that building right behind me has bullet holes in it. I'll talk a bit about the research I did into the banking crisis. So, really the origins of this banking crisis goes back to partly the political system, which is separated into three main components: a Christian and two Muslim, a Shia and a Sunni leader. And while this is a good kind of system for the Lebanese to, cohabitate with each other, with like in terms of like the religious affiliations, I think it's proven to cause a lot of divide also within their politics. And it's it's gridlocked like a lot of decision making. As you can imagine, if you have three leaders at the top, it's going to take a real long time to get things done, to make decisions. And I think that's part of it. And then you have like regional conflicts. So the latest and most significant one was the Syrian civil war, which saw like millions of Syrian refugees come into Lebanon. I mean, they pretty much doubled their population overnight. And then you had a pretty like inefficient economic system. I mean, they relied heavily on like foreign investors and foreign depositors and expats who were working overseas. They relied heavily on them depositing money. And, a mix of these things led to like things like corruption. Corruption in the financial system, with elites engaging in like illicit financial activity, and politicians financial engineering, and then you had like protests which caused further divide and destabilized the politics even further. And there's a whole bunch of things like what the banks did, because they do heavily rely on foreign investors. Firstly, the debt was spiraling out of control. It was like the debt to GDP ratio was like one of the worst in the world. And I think to combat that, the banks started offering these ridiculous interest rates to attract foreign investment. And the interest rates were like stupid high, unsustainable, and it all just came crashing down. And the result was the banks started to freeze people's money because they ran out. If you had money in the bank, firstly there was hyperinflation because the monetary policy was just out of whack. These interest rates are playing with the interest rates, and all this financial engineering going on, and the fiscal mismanagement. And then because the banks ran out of all the money, and they froze accounts, so people couldn't get out their money. People had entire life savings. Like if you had 50k in your bank, the dollar, the currency devalued that much that it's now like worth 5,000, and you can't even get it out of the bank. Like you can't even get it out of the bank because the banks froze the money. They ran out of money. They couldn't give it. So people's money are heavily eroded. Like the value of their money is heavily eroded, and they can't even get it out. So it's pretty full on. And I heard a story of a lady. Her sister had cancer, and she walked into a bank. She asked for her money. They wouldn't give it to her. She said, "I need it for my sister's cancer treatment." They wouldn't give it to her. So she's gone back to the bank and held the bank up with a gun. And she's like, "Give me my fucking money." She's holding the bank up. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.